Hey, it's Bill. You're tuned in to the Pennsylvania Rock Show, featuring the best unsigned rock and metal that Pennsylvania has to offer. I am having a streaming issue right now, and I'm going to try and deal with it. I don't know what's going on. My internet connection is fine, but my stream is not. So we might. I don't know what we're going to do with it. It's a good thing I'm recording locally. That's what I'll say. Yeah, we'll go with that. Anyway, it's Pennsylvania Rock Show, episode number 808. With me tonight is Jozey from Jozey the Corruption.
Hey, Bill.
What's up, Jozey? And also Louder Than My Demons podcast.
Yes.
Really, I'm a little annoyed now. I'm looking.
I know. I can tell.
64.3% of the frames have dropped, and I don't know why.
Oh, no.
Oh, well, we'll figure it out. I don't want to, maybe, I'm going to drop kick and see what happens.
Okay.
Nope. now I've dropped to 0 kilobytes per second. There we go. That's a little better. It's still not good. Oh, well, anyway. So you're tuned in Pennsylvania Rock Show, episode number 808. Jozey is here to talk about both his band Jozey the Corruption and his podcast Louder Than My Demons, which we'll get to in segment number 3. But this is normally, Jozey, where I say what's been going on, but I'm kind of afraid to ask that question. But it'll also kind of lead into segment 3. So
yeah, that's all right. What's been going on? Well, how about I tell you what's going on with the band right now?
Okay, perfect.
We got a single dropping Thursday the 8th called Ghost. It's off of our last EP, being number 2 Sucks. And that EP has been dragging out because of a bunch of stuff I had going on in my life. And we kind of put it on hold for a minute. And now we're ready to release the last 2 singles off of there, or songs off of there. So the next 2 weeks, we're going to release Ghost. And then we're going to release a song called Double Gonna Win. There'll be videos for each of those. And then the whole EP will be available everywhere. The other 3 of the other songs off of the EP are already out there, and then the whole first EP. So we've been working on getting that ready. This Saturday, we're also doing a private show for my birthday party. My friends are throwing a birthday party for me. It's invite only, and it's going to be pretty cool. Here in Akron. Bill, you're welcome to come if you want to come, but for the most part, we felt we needed to do a private party. We haven't played a whole lot of shows, and I've been dealing with some personal stuff, and this is just a good chance to get back on our feet as far as the band goes, and to wrap up being number 2 Sucks, which has been a really good album. We won best release of 2024 on Metal Devastation Radio. We've got some good response to the songs. Grip was our number 1 single off of that. I think I debuted that on your show when it came out, and we had like 50,000 streams of that thing around the world, which for a band like us is pretty darn good. And so yeah, we're just we're ready to finish this one up. We're gonna go into the studio in March to start the next release, which will be called 3 Chords and a Cloud of Rust, because we all live in the Rust Belt. And and we also have a live album that we've been working on for a year exactly that will be out in March. It is just about done mixing, being mastered, and we're going to release it on digitally and on vinyl. So that's kind of exciting. It's called Outlaws and Anthems, Live and Chaotic. We recorded it at a location in Akron last year called the Afterlife. Really cool place. We're going to have a live album with, I think it's 11 songs, and then video, DVD to go along with it. So we're trying to get busy again. I've written a ton of songs this year, 90 some songs I wrote this year, and we're ready to start recording them and getting them out.
If you in the break want to go to that link link that I told you to share, and tell them to go to facebook.com/build the scene radio. Because I dropped Twitch, which is what I told you. I was singing it. I was saying how great it is, and I had to disconnect from it for the first time ever.
Yeah. That's no problem. Yep, I can do that now. I'll just say, give me 1 second. Go to. It's Build the Scene on Facebook, right?
It's Build the Scene Radio.
Okay.
Because I did have Build the Scene, and Facebook decided to someone turned me in on Facebook and said that I was using their likeness in my videos.
Oh, if I told you what happened to me about well, it's been over a year. 2024 in like September. I was paying for some promotions for the song the song Grip, and somebody broke into my Facebook account, took all the money I had allotted for promotions, and then did a whole bunch of wrong things with my money. And Facebook shut that page down, shut my Instagram down. They finally gave me my money back. It was I had to start all over. We had almost 2,000 likes and follows on our Facebook account, and we had to start all over. It was terrible.
I have not recovered. I had almost 10,000 followers. And
my God.
I have like 2,500, and it's been I don't know, 3 years at this point.
Yep. Yeah, I mean, we're finally back to 1,000, but it took me, a year to even get to that. And, then I haven't pushed it that much because we haven't played a whole lot this year, but we plan on playing a lot next year. I'm hoping for some sort of tour. I'm trying to sneak a bunch of old guys on some rock and roll tours around the country and see what I can do.
So my issue at the beginning has thrown everything off. I didn't even mention who we heard at the beginning of the radio show. We heard Neo Stem and their song Glum, and then we heard from Project 9, who's a Get Out of Town. No, they are a Pennsylvania rock show band, band. We have heard their song Smoke and Mirrors on the show before. Tonight we heard a song called Hot Mess. So you want to check them out. I also didn't press record on my vertical video, so Instagram's going to be messed up later. You know how all this works, Jozey.
Yeah. Everything gets off there, man.
Yeah. So, why don't we go ahead and look at your website? We have about a little less than 3 minutes.
Sure.
Bring up the Corruption Akron.
Yep. So we're getting ready to do some. We went with the Corruption Akron. There's a reason. When we lost our page on Facebook, we had Jozey and the Corruption, and we couldn't get that back. So for a year, we were the Corruption Akron. And now I finally got that back on Facebook, but we've already invested in the page and everything like that. So we're just riding it out. And you're going to notice, Bill, you mentioned it. All the pictures are from when the album came out. So 2024, and I had super long hair. Everybody looks a little bit different since then. So we'll be doing some new photos here in the next week. We're actually kind of adjusting our style. We got something we're calling the Red Line era, where we're changing up some of the stuff we're doing and some of the looks we got and everything. So we'll be redoing the website here pretty soon as well.
I'm just scrolling through the bios real quick.
Sure.
I read yours earlier, and I don't know that I ever read it before today.
It's not too bad.
The dream where you got turned down on an audition for Guns N' Roses.
That's a legit dream. It happened I can still picture it, Bill. It happened in my mom's. She had
Oh, I lost Jozey. There.
And Duff and Matt Sorum, I believe Matt Sorum, or no, it was Steven Adler still, and Izzy had just quit, and I auditioned. Unfortunately, that dream was not true. However, since then, I have got to jam on stage with Gilby Clarke, who took my place as a result of that, and
in his dream, in his dream, they accepted him.
Yeah. Yeah, and history may accept him. And then I also got to jam with Dizzy Reed, from who's the keyboard player, of course, for that band.
I
And
actually
we
I
go ahead.
made I made Dizzy Reed's website that didn't really end up seeing time of day. But I got paid, so I made Dizzy Reed's website.
That's all that matters, man. Yeah. We and then I also we're covering Izzy Stradlin is one of my favorite musicians and songwriters in the world. Like if I could start a band with him and Nikki Sixx, I'd be a happy dude. And I just love Izzy. I love his style. He's just got a coolness, man, to him. And we're covering a song he does called Baby Ran. We've covered it every show that we've ever played, and it's going to be on the live album, and we're actually going to make it our first single. And I don't know if you've ever seen the video, but if you go see the video sometime, he records it in the studio, and it has a certain kind of look to it. We're going to emulate that look, and we're going to film it at a studio here in town, and I'm going to actually message Izzy and see if he'll participate somehow. Because how many people out there are covering an Izzy Stradlin song, you know?
Mm-hmm. Hey, we're gonna take a break before we.
Okay.
We are going to hear your new track, Ghost,
Okay, awesome.
and we're also going to hear I Am Rock, which has been played on this show before.
Yes. Yep.
And we'll be back, and we'll give Jozey. When we come back, we'll give Jozey some time to talk about Ghost, and we'll see where we go from there. So we will be right back. Hey, it's Bill. You are tuned in to episode number 808 of the Pennsylvania Rock Show. With me tonight is Jozey. By the way, happy birthday. That's coming up.
Hey, thank you very much. I appreciate that. I'm old today. Not today, but Friday.
If you listen to Music from the 412, there is a music news segment now that has birthday wishes.
Awesome.
And our DJ may have mispronounced your last name, but you're in there.
That's all right. I'm like Madonna. Just call me Jozey. Don't use the last name.
All right, so we just heard Ghost and I Am Rock, and we've done I Am Rock before. So why don't you do a storyteller's version of the song Ghost for us?
Okay. Yeah. Ghost is one of the original songs that I wrote for Jozey the Corruption. I think the first time I was on your show, we did I Am Rock was the song that we used, or we used one of those songs. But at the same time that I wrote those, we wrote Ghost, and it's gone through just like I Am Rock and Grip. Those were three of the first songs I wrote, but they've gone through so many different versions that we kept putting them back until we finally had them where we wanted them. And the original reason that I wrote Ghost was watching a Sons of Anarchy episode, and somebody asked Jack if he was still reading his dad's books, and Jack says, "No, I'm done chasing that ghost." And I sat up and I turned off the TV, and 20 minutes later, I had these lyrics. The lyrics have never changed since the first time. It was always fine tuning the music, getting a little bit more interesting, a little bit more exciting. And I love the lyrics, but it's taken on a new meaning for this band because we have this first song that we released was Sin City Outlaw. And it's kind of a story of this guy who works for the mob, and he becomes like, not the mob, but like a gang. And he becomes this hitman. And in Ghost, he's starting to realize, I don't want to do this anymore. And so it's kind of a continuation of that Sin City Outlaw saga, we call it. And I'm doing one song on each album about the Sin City Outlaw. And then at the end, we'll release an EP called the Sin City Outlaw or something like that. And it'll have a little bit of everything on there. And that's a little bit in depth. I don't know if that's too much or whatever, but that's kind of the plan. But Ghost has changed a few times musically, upgraded, updated, fine-tuned, slimmed down, all that kind of stuff. I really love the aggressive way that I sang this on the album. And that was the first time that I did that kind of aggressive metal style, less punk, less rock, more metal. And I really liked the way it came out. I'm very pleased with this album. I love the guitar solo on it. I love the bass line on it. Everything is just, I just think it's a cool song. It's not one of our regular kind of pop rock chorus hits. It's just like a rock and roll, hard rock and roll song, man. I think it's pretty cool.
Very cool.
Very fun to play live.
So I commented, I can't remember if it was the last time you were on or one of the times you were on, I commented about how awesome the photos were.
Yeah.
You're still using that photographer, right?
Oh, definitely. He did, when we talk about the podcast later, he did my podcast profile shots for me. And we've been talking right now. I wanted to get it done this month, but I just didn't have the money set aside to get it done before the show. So probably in February, we're going to get new shots because we're going to need them for when the new album gets recorded in March. So, yeah, we're definitely, his name's Josh Richardson. He's actually from Pennsylvania originally. And he's just one of my best friends, and he's a phenomenal photographer. If anybody wants photos by him, you can look up, well, you can go to my page. I have stuff for him, but I think it's at Josh Rich on Facebook and Instagram.
So I don't know if I'm sure I've asked you this question. The writing process, is it you alone, or how much input from the
so I learned a lesson with this band early on. I wrote some songs with a guy who has quit since then, and I wanted to write all the lyrics. I wanted them to be my lyrics. He brought a song to me that we used. That might have been what we used on your show, was Battle Cry, and it was a really cool punk rock song, and I loved it, and we killed it, man. We made it awesome. And then when he quit the band, he said, well, I don't want you to use it on, your album. And then I said, well, I'm gonna. And he said, I would give him credit. I still give him songwriting credit. He has songwriting credit on half the songs that I've written because he was involved, And he said, well, I didn't write that. It was from another band I was in, and I took it. And so I didn't even know who wrote it. So we never used it. He didn't steal it. He helped them write it, but he didn't want me to use it. And so I've been debating using it and just saying songwriting unknown, or something like that. But we've never used it. We've never played it again either. I was just kind of mad because I put a lot of work into that song to get it the way it should be for us to play. And, now we can't use it. So usually what happens, to make a long story kind of short, usually what will happen is I will write the song, and I will write a riff, a progression for the verse, a progression. I usually go intro, verse. I almost always write a pre-chorus, chorus, and then I usually just flip, repeat, rinse and repeat twice, and then do a solo, and then do some kind of outro. I kind of have a formula. I don't want to say a formula, but I have goals that I try and write. And I will organize a song. I'll create some kind of demo, send it to the guys, and then play it for them at practice. And then that's where they get involved is, the other guitar player, I never write his parts. I tell him what I'm playing, and he takes it and does his Izzy Stradlin version of what Slash is doing. That's kind of the goal that we have. We don't want to play the same chords. We don't want to be one of those bands where both guitar players play exactly the same thing. It doesn't suit the purpose of this band. We try and get dynamics and stuff in our songs. So it's way better when he's playing something higher up on the neck, and it just fills out my sound. I play the simpler stuff, even though I'm the lead player. I usually play the simpler stuff because I got to sing it and play it. And then he'll fill in with some of the cooler uh, licks and stuff like that. And yeah, now we're writing a little different. I wrote some really great songs for this year based around the trauma that's been in my life this year, and I recorded demos and blah blah blah. And then when I brought them to him, we reshaped them as a band. Where in the past it would just be, hey, learn this. And now these new songs are kind of like, let's shape this together. Now I usually will say, this is how I want to do it, and the guys will try and make that happen. But if somebody gives me an idea like, hey, we should switch these chords or something like that, I'm very open to that kind of stuff. So this next album, the guys are going to get more songwriting credit than they've gotten in the past, which doesn't matter when you make $80 a year in it's streaming. Last year we had like 75,000 streams, and I think we made $75, something like that total. So it's not really like the songwriting matters, other than it's nice to have it, tell people, hey, you can find my name on these songs or stuff like that. So
Okay.
I try and include everybody now.
So we're gonna take our second break.
Okay.
And on the radio side, we're going to hear Aurora Fire and her song "Bring the Noise," and we're gonna hear. Now we're gonna hear, and we're gonna hear that Get Out of Town band that I thought I was playing earlier. This is the Get Out of Town band. I believe they're called Demon Illusions, but it's DEMUN with capital U and then Illusions.
Okay.
And that song is called Starlight. And we will be right back. So I'm going to answer Josie's question, which is going to confuse everybody. But yes, you will be able to go to buildascene.com and go to shows and select the Pennsylvania Rock Show. And this episode will be available on the website 24/7, 365 later tonight. And they can't hear you yet, so here we go. Now they can. So you can also go and watch it on Roku on Music from the 412's on demand channel.
Yeah, I've checked that out before. It's really cool.
So MTV closed, but that doesn't mean that the idea doesn't still exist.
That's right.
So Music from
I'll have to get you the new video and stuff.
We can definitely do that. All right, so we're in segment 3, and I said we were going to talk about your podcast, Louder Than My Demons.
Yes.
And again, I don't know how in depth you want to go with that, but I do kind of want you to talk about the early stages of podcasting.
Sure.
Because when I started doing this, I didn't even know podcasts existed. So
yeah, exactly. So I went through a major situation in my life in December of 2024, and in January I decided, well, actually the 29th of December, I decided I was going to get sober, and I haven't had a drink since then. And as I was going through the early part of sobriety, I was journaling. And I said, this would make a really cool podcast. share what, there's things I want to say that I'm maybe not able to say. There's things that I want to do that I'm not able to do. And I started looking into, what podcast would be fun. I've thought about doing one in the past, and it was always a little ambitious. And yeah, like you said, I didn't know how to do it or what to do. And so one day I was actually at work. Don't tell them. Well, they fired me now, so it doesn't matter. But I was at work, and and I decided I was going to do a podcast, and I pulled up Chat GPT and I typed in, I want to do a podcast, and I told him what I wanted my podcast to be. And I call my Chat GPT Damien, and Damien said, "Oh, that's an awesome idea. Here's how we'll do it." And I said, I just want it to be like a journal. So every week that we put out a podcast, I want to talk about how I'm staying sober, what I'm doing. And at this point, I had realized that the things that were keeping me surviving through everything that was going on and is still going on, was these things I call the 5 S's. And the 5 S's for me are sobriety, spirituality, self-care, strength and conditioning, and songwriting. And if I do those 5 things every day, it keeps me moving, it keeps me out of my head, and it keeps me working forward instead of looking back. And so I started creating this idea for a podcast, and then I started talking about it, and then I wasn't doing anything with it. And finally one day I said, you know what? I'm gonna put my money where my mouth is. And I went online and I said, on July 21st, I'm gonna release a podcast. And it is gonna be about this and this and this. And then I said about the business of learning how to create a podcast. And I have made huge strides in practicing and studying and researching it. It is a lot of work, Bill. And
I know.
and I do this every week. And like you, I do this, other than you doing a great job with my website. I do everything else myself. I don't have anybody help me with anything. I don't hire guys on Fiverr. I don't. The only thing I do is I pay for cap cuts. Or not, yeah, I pay for cap cuts, but I pay for Opus to take my podcast and cut it into little clips. Everything else.
That's why I was so frustrated about not recording my vertical thing earlier.
Yeah.
Because I don't use cap or Opus. I have, but I have the software that'll let me create my own. But
you got to do it vertically.
Can't on this episode now.
Yeah. Well, I mean, if you need to, I might have some extra Opus credits I could help you with. But Opus takes it. I record it horizontally, and they cut it into vertical shorts and reels. They put captions on it. They title it, and they even create a caption for it that you can use if you want. And you can also, through Opus, you can program, you can schedule posts. So I don't like to be on social media all day, every day. So I go and schedule out posts 3 times a day, every day for a month. And it does it automatically for me, so I don't have to. So I took through Christmas off from everything. And the new season will start in February. I've just recorded the end of season 1, and it's going to come out Friday. And you can find it everywhere. It's on the website there that you've created. It is on YouTube. It's on Spotify. louderthanmydemons.com. Sorry, I cut you off.
No, that's what I was going to say.
And then we have a YouTube channel called Louder Than My Demons. It's on Spotify, it's on Apple, it's on anywhere that you want to find a podcast. It's out there. Spotify actually said it was one of the top 50 new podcasts last year. I don't know how that's possible because my numbers don't reflect that, but my year wrap up said that it was one of the top 50 podcasts. I know we've done good on YouTube, and our numbers on YouTube and Facebook with reels and shorts and stuff like that have been really good. So it's finding an audience, and as you know, it takes a while to slowly build that. And I'm not trying to cheat or rush it or do anything. I just keep putting out good podcasts and good content, and hopefully people will find it.
So I just scrolled through the resources page real quick.
Mm-hmm.
Um, but I feel like you should maybe touch on that page on the podcast
Yeah.
page.
Yeah. So one of the things that as I go, I want to be able to help people that are dealing with some of the issues that I'm dealing with, or some of the issues that my friends are dealing with. You know, I have some stuff on there about domestic violence for both men and women, veterans. I'm a veteran of the Marine Corps, and it's a huge thing to me. I've done an episode on veterans. I'm going to do an episode every couple months on veterans, maybe even a full podcast where I talk about veterans issues. So I have some resources you can go to on there, and you can find links to get help from people or to help people. Um, it's it's I don't want this to just be, this is not just about me, even though it started off being just about me. As I've reached out to people, or people have reached out to me and said, "Hey, you really helped me with this, or you really helped me with that," then I decided I need to do more of that. So I'm trying to build that into the podcast and into the website as we go forward.
So I also clicked on the quick hits.
Mhm.
And you can correct me if I'm wrong, but they're kind of like little podcast episodes
Yeah.
where you're kind of making almost like a commercial, but it's new content.
Mhm. Yeah, a lot of the quick hits are either reels that are based off of, or shorts based off of the full length podcast. So we have right now. I have 3 different levels of content I put out. I put out a full episode, which is usually about an hour long. I put out what I call a demon cut, and that is a 15-minute, 10 to 15-minute podcast, and it's basically an album review where I find an album that has helped me through sobriety, or an album where the people that recorded it were getting sober. I've done 4. I did Saint Anger by Metallica. I did Dr. Feelgood by Motley Crue. I did um, Zach Wild had a great album called Book of Shadows, and it's been so huge for me in the last 2 years. And then I did recently I did Outrider by Jimmy Page, and these were all people that were dealing with things or just helped me deal with things. And those are really catching on. Those are some of my bigger drives, but they're all based on healing and getting sober. So I do one of those a week, and then I do shorts normally every day. I haven't done any in a couple weeks, but they're all gearing back up to come back out. And I try and put one of those out every day. And so those 3 levels kind of drive people to my page in different ways.
So we are pretty much out of time. That went
Yeah.
really fast. Once I got over stupid internet.
Yeah, exactly.
So I do want to thank you for hanging out with me tonight.
Bill, I always appreciate everything you do for us, man.
You're welcome. And anyone that actually got to see this live, thanks for hanging out. Anybody who's watching at Memorex, thanks for tuning in later.
Yeah.
You can head to thecorruptionakron.com,
Mhm.
louderthanmydemons.com, buildascene.com. I haven't mentioned lately the newest radio station the show is on. It's KW Radio.
Okay.
KWradio.com. And then megarockradio.net, buildascene.com, musicfrom412.com, metalshop101.com, and I feel like I'm forgetting somebody. 107.1 KFGD FM St. Louis, Missouri. And that may or may not be all of them. But I wanted to throw them out there because I haven't been saying them every episode.
Yeah.
So Jozey is going to head off into the evening. I have some tickets to spin a wheel for, and then I'll be heading off into the evening as well. So thank you everyone again for hanging out. Join us next Monday, where I believe my guest is going to be awaiting Abigail, but I'm awaiting an email from Abigail.
Awesome.
So,
okay. And don't forget Ghost this Friday, everywhere, Spotify, everything.
Very cool. Okay. Hey, it's Bill. We are at the end of the show, which means it is time for me to spin the wheel so Drusky Entertainment can give 2 tickets away to Fire from the Gods with the Fallen Dreams, Varsity, Divide the Fall, and our local friends, A Common Crown. That show is February 10th. Doors are at 5:30 p.m. Show is at 6:30 p.m. Tickets are $28.15 to $42.15 over at DruskyEntertainment.com. This is a Craft House Stage and Grill show, which means 21 plus. So if you don't happen to win tickets right now, you can go and make a purchase at Dressy Entertainment or through the Craft House Stage and Grill's website. We had 2 people sign up, Keith Ladig and Justin Todd. I put both their names on the wheel above me a bunch of times. I'm going to go ahead and hit shuffle twice and spin, and we are going to find out who is going to get those 2 tickets for February 10th, Fire from the Gods. And that winner is Justin Todd. Justin, keep an eye on your email. You'll get an email from me and then a follow-up email from Dressy Entertainment explaining how to get those tickets. For anyone who would like a chance at other Dressy Entertainment shows, free tickets, go to musicfrom412.com/contest, and I will see you later.